Oh no, we're being recorded.
Okay, so do we have anybody else? Okay, there we go.
Hey, it looks like we have a speaker too, huh? Or a public person out here.
Yeah, she said she wanted to
Yes.
say something.
Perfect, that's good.
It makes these odd noises.
Yeah, that too. I kept dialing myself at the house. I was like, I got to call him, talk about. I don't know how to do it. That's cool.
Jamie, is there anybody else that needs to come in, or are we okay now?
We've got one more, Bonnie Salona.
Okay. Well,
I can't tell who else,
Yeah, click. Cheryl or.
All right, everybody's in for now.
Okay. Thanks,
Okay.
Jamie.
You're welcome.
all right, okay, I show it's 2 minutes after 7. I'm calling the meeting to order. I can see that all board members are in attendance. We don't have a scheduled guest speaker, but during public comment, I know there's a number of people that are going to want to speak, so we'll recognize them and let them speak one at a time when we get there. We have an agenda that was set up, however, through an oversight, we didn't get the agenda approved 24 hours in advance of the meeting, so legally, according to our attorney, we cannot vote on anything, make any formal decisions tonight. So what we'll do is we'll go through and we'll talk about the different topics and talk about the items. But we're gonna have to schedule a meeting in a couple of days. We'll try to make it quick just so we can do the formal approval of some of those items. So I know that the agenda, you do have it now, so you all can look at it. If you have any issues, we can talk about that as we go through. Previous minutes, we'll have to wait to approve those next time. I know we've had this for several days, so we should all have had the opportunity to look at them. If you have any concerns, voice them before we take a vote on them.
Wonderful job, Shauna.
Okay, special business. We're gonna go through the special business, the budget committee, recreation and personnel. And then I'm going to add one more item under special business. And I know a lot of people had a lot of concerns about the way the roads were taken care of in the last big snowstorm. So we're going to then let Bruce talk about that briefly. And at that point, then we can open up the floor for some public comments. But I wanted to give Bruce the opportunity to give you the insight that he has gained through that and some of the things they're looking at, some of what they're trying to do to correct the problem in the future. And then at that point, we will do the public comments. So budget committee, Carissa and Corey, has there been anything going on this month?
No discussion. I just had a few people inquiring about the increased mailbox fee. If maybe our next meeting and put something together for the public.
And numbers
Break down the cost, you mean?
Break down the numbers and cost so the public can see it.
and the mailbox.
I know, but
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I'm doing my best to explain it, but without having something to like show
exact
them.
numbers. And just a comment about that, I know I'm not on that committee, but in regard to like an email that came through that asked about the road fees being increased as well. I explained that it was the wear and tear and the infrastructure and there's reasons why we need to increase or we needed to increase it because of the costs of all the other materials and stuff. So I did respond with information as to why the road increased as well, but hopefully, you know, again, they were concerned about the increase in our rates and everything. And this being, the way I presented it was that because of the rate study that the increases were happening and that it was necessary for us to do that. And hopefully in the future, we never have to see that kind of an increase again.
And actually, the rate study did not take into account the
Not
inflation.
this year, you're
It
right.
was raised in order to start addressing some of the infrastructure problems. And it's only fortunate for us that we had some of that extra funding that we could cover the cost of the fuel and some of the things that went up as a result of this.
But hopefully
Yeah, the
that-
other thing is, and that I would like to add here, since we're talking about the budget, is I know that one of the things that I've been very impressed with is when Carissa and Corey and Bruce sat down and went through the budget, they found lots of errors from the previous budget, what the other budgets were built on. And so some of these rate increases are adjustments in order for those areas to carry themselves and not be subsidized by a different area. So shifting some around is going to become apparent in some of the rate increases as a result.
in the
also.
next couple of years and stuff, we'll see a noticeable advantage to the way that you've got it set up now. I believe that that's true too.
And just real quick, Robin, gravel, we're gonna need gravel, and that's $150,000 cost. Divide that over how many residents, how many years? That right there is a big increase
Yes.
in years. So that has not been charged in the last 6 years. So there's just the 3 new trucks. We need lake truck, $50,000, snowplow, $95,000.
Agree.
You know, so to answer yours, just some specifics that we found. Partner rate increase, like Mark said,
Again,
And
for the
some
road
are-
side of it,
totally road,
yes,
totally road.
yeah, I agree with you.
So just looking at my notes, that right there were 2 big. 4 total big price items.
Yes.
I think Derek's trying to say something.
Were you
Oh, I
trying
just
to say better?
Yeah, I was just say real quick, and I apologize if this was already stated. Bruce, help me out again. What's the budgetary jargon, the term for? You've mentioned before a number of times, and that is when it comes to roads, maintenance, sewer and water, and how fees, those things should pay for themselves. What is that term again you were using?
Enterprise fund.
Enterprise fund. And so
That's just water and sewer are enterprise funds. Our roads are still listed under general fund. So they're funded that way. But we have a road fee that we charge that doesn't cover the expenses. So there's still a deficit there, but the enterprise funds are supposed to be, in most cases, supported strictly by user fees. And they're not.
Exactly.
We allocate some of the property tax to both of the water and sewer to support them.
Yeah, okay, no, that makes sense. I mean, because that speaks to Mark's point about just some of those budgetary imbalances, if you will, as far as things need to be straightened out. And I think if that can be straightened out, that's just more money to be used elsewhere if you can actually have a fee that pays for what it's supposed to be doing. So just wanted to add that.
It's going to improve our ability to accurately budget in the future too.
Question, we haven't had to pay for the gravel because we had a stockpile, right? Now we have to replenish that stockpile.
Absolutely.
So in the last time period, yeah,
Right. What typically happens, and the same thing applies to vehicles as well, is you budget for it each year, so you don't have a large hit. Like this year, we had 150,000. This budget now, I've got 25,000 in it already for next year that will accumulate that. And so after 6 years, we'll have about $150,000 again. Same thing for vehicles. We took a huge hit on those because they weren't amortizing the cost of those things out and planning for it. So we've done that now, but it's gonna take some while to catch up.
That's that prior planning prevents poor performance kind of thing. So we're trying to get that in hand, and we've made great strides this year in that area, I believe. It's just that it's going to take us a little while to get it smooth out and get it working like it's supposed to.
Bruce, can you get on the chat?
Okay,
Well,
do you want to wait for the public comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
We can
so
just
we'll
read
take a look at that
yeah,
point.
Jamie will run that.
Okay, if there's nothing else on the budget, if nobody else has any comments, was there anything, Derek or Robin, on the recreation committee?
Let me just say one more thing on the budget.
Okay.
It is balanced
Mhm,
and we did approve it.
mhm,
So
yes.
that is something that doesn't happen in all communities.
Oh, yeah,
Good job.
yeah, well, you guys did a really good job. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
No, thanks,
And
Bruce.
Bruce,
Okay.
thank you.
So Recreation Committee, nothing on.
We don't have anything at this time at the Recreation Committee.
All right.
Nothing.
And on the Personnel Committee, there has no been
Nothing there either.
Either, so. Okay, so before we go into public comments, I just want to invite Bruce to share some of what he's learned through this snow episode with us. And I don't know if that'll preclude anyone's questions or comments, but everyone will have their opportunity, but I do want for Bruce to have the opportunity to share his perspective on it. So Bruce, you have the floor for a moment.
Thank you. Yeah, that snow event we had last week, or approximately a week and a half ago, was about 4 or 5 days. And we made some mistakes, and we weren't, I guess, as prepared as we probably should have been. And so we've definitely retrenched with our staff, had numerous meetings. We've done some things with our equipment. We've got another piece of equipment to help out with that, should we have something of this magnitude again. But one of the things that some people are wondering is how we do that. And we have a camera up at the top of one of our tank on the top. And usually Trevor, about 2 o'clock in the morning, like he'll do tonight, it checks it remotely and to see what the snow level is. And if it's at about 4 inches and still snowing, or 4 inches, calls the crew, they come out. Typically, they take off about 3 o'clock.
So we're saying 4 inches, the mark to start plowing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the idea is we have 5 zones, and each driver has their own zone, which is where some of the mistakes we made, where some people missed some streets where they were unfamiliar with it. We fixed that by handing everybody a map so they know exactly which streets they're responsible for. And the objective here, certainly right off in the morning, is to be able to get the mountain cleared as best we can so that people can go to work, kids can go to school generally. And I realize not everybody works at the same time, but that's the idea. Then we get out of the way for a few hours while people are traversing, going to work, going to school, doing whatever they're doing in the morning, and try and get back out sometime around between 9 and 10 and try and clean up, whether it's intersections or other things that we didn't get, push things back. And that'll go on, basically indefinitely. One of the problems we ran into is just the sheer number of days, and we only have 6 people. We do run into a little bit of problem staffing that all the time. And some of our operators are new, and so they've, again, didn't do some things exactly right. Their technique wasn't necessarily the best, but the only way to get better about that is to do it, and they are continue to do that, and they've been out every day this week working on it, trying to clean things up for the next storm that comes in. So with that, we think we're ready for the next one. We're certainly going to be a lot better prepared and know what areas we're doing, and we won't be missing streets and or other things. And our equipment is better prepared to handle that magnitude of snow that we got. That was very heavy and very wet.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. Can we take a look at those 2 chat items, since I don't know what they say? How do you pull that up? Mailboxes can mailboxes be cleared license now? I stepped in all, still trying to get mail at my age. They're falling and breaking bones. I also understand road increase, but why mailboxes? Okay, so the one thing I'm going to say, we were talking about this before the meeting. Corey has been asked this by a few residents. So Corey has asked for a breakdown of those expenses as far as why the mailbox increased. So maybe we can share something more with you at the next meeting. As for the ice, yeah, I mean, ice is a problem, and it's hard to.
I can answer. I mean, I can tell you personally, I've been out there twice with the snow melt, putting it out there because of that problem. We do it. We didn't do it enough. I guess Okay, but it's not that we haven't done it, just maybe not at the time when she went, or maybe not enough, but I can tell you, again, personally, I've done it twice.
Well, I think, yeah, we just need to redouble our efforts on that. The problem is we have so many cars drive over the snow, it packs it down very hard and it very quickly turns to ice.
Talking about where you walk in the mailbox, the
Yeah,
concrete.
you walk right up to the mailbox when you
But
get
even
up
on
to
the concrete.
Yeah, I have the same problem. I get out of my car and I can't tell you how many times I've slipped. So if maybe we can do a little better job of throwing some chips down. You know, ice melt is good, but maybe some chips will give you some traction and that stuff. So you might take a look if there's something we can do to improve that around the mailbox, because that is kind of a dangerous area. So, yeah, thank you for that question. Okay, I agree with Bonnie. I carry sand in the car because I've got a bad knee, could easily slip getting my mail, so I put sand down so I don't slip. And you put cleats on your boots, good idea. The ice is ice. If the area around the mailboxes could be sanded, that would help. Yep. So good comments. We'll take a look at that and see if we could do something about that. Let's see, in the past, you did a lot of grading on the roads after a snowstorm. If you do that again, that would be great. I had noticed, Bruce, relative to that comment, that they have been out here the last couple of days. They have gone over the roads a couple of times, at least my road. I haven't been out and about a lot, so I don't know
They've
the status of all.
been out every single day,
Okay.
continuing to clean up, push back the banks,
Okay.
and various other things.
Yeah, and they've got my road right down now where a lot of it is down to the dirt. I mean, they weren't digging the dirt up, but they got enough of the snow and ice off it with warm temps. It's now melted through, so I think they're trying. Okay, I don't see any other chat comments. Oh, East Valley View is still snowpacked, okay? And I can't specifically address.
I don't know if the grader's been there or not, we can
I
ask
don't
Trevor. Cause yeah, today, like I said, was the day that the grader was out today.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
in our
can't
road,
find
but
it.
Trevor, do you have some information on that particular question?
East
Valley
Valley,
View. I know I hit it myself personally in the grader. And I know it's also been hit at least one more time with the grader as well, so. If
Do you
there's
know
still
when the last time anyone was there off the top of your head?
this week,
Yeah,
so Monday, maybe.
I mean, the roads are gonna be snow packed. But. the-
Oh, our
the
road
snow
is
is,
still flat.
yeah, so I don't know,
It's not down to
How-
the dirt.
no,
You can't get rid of all of it.
right,
But the best you can do is get it
Yeah.
down to where there's almost nothing there.
But at least it's clear now,
Yeah.
because before it was just standing snow that
The
you could walk
slushing
the
that-
track. Well,
yeah, or that.
you would
Yeah.
walk through it and you would
got 2
have,
inches of pop,
yeah,
yeah,
so we'd had that and, I'm a little concerned, I guess, about the 4-inch weight for that. But that's your call, I guess.
well, that's just what has been the practice, from what I understand, and we can always change that, I guess, but it's, from what I gather, that's what it's been.
We have the same rule of paper. We don't come out and start plowing to those 4 inches of snow, because it's almost pointless for us to get our trucks out for 2 inches of snow, because it just tears up the snow plows. It's not enough to justify coming out.
Slow and steady is a good way to go.
Slow and steady or not, it still needs the snow plow blade.
And I've changed a few of those.
I
Yes.
think a few years ago, it was even more. I was told one time when Dale was still here that they didn't hit it until they had at least 5 inches.
Oh, no, they did. Ricky and Charlie Harrington and Ricky and Jim, those guys were on the road. It was like they cared. They took pride in their road and they made sure that it was cleaned and cleared. And we haven't had those kind of roads since those guys left.
You know, when I started about 30 before I had built. Here, one day after snow, there was 6 inches of snow. So,
Yes.
I mean, the thing is, every circumstance, every snow is going to be a little different. You can have some variation, but
And I will give it to Forest Lake, because they start at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't start hauling guys out till 4 o'clock in the morning. We don't really get started till 5 plowing snow.
Trevor,
Wait,
can you
let's
just
not
check
do
East
that.
Valley View if you swing
I'll
around
give
by
them
there?
props.
Don't
do
that.
If your idea of plowed is the same idea as Karen Gaulick. And that's as good as it's gonna be, because I have snow in front of my, it's snowpack. But
Mine
that's
too.
that until April.
Yeah, mine too. In my own
So,
yard, I have. some
You were
spots.
lucky to have dirt on yours, but mine is
Yeah.
snow as far as I can see. So I'm thinking we're talking about different levels of what she thinks
Well, you saw that,
we're done at.
you saw the picture that I showed
Somebody
you.
has a
That-
concern.
that
we
is-
should look at it.
Flush and,
Every,
That was a
That's
windrow that was left in the middle of the road.
yeah, but the rest of it was snow packed.
The rest
If
of
you
it's
wanna,
not.
yes, and that's plowed. to me.
So I think we've addressed, to some degree at least, we've addressed the chat comments. We have somebody in person here that I would like to give first opportunity to. I'm assuming you would like to come and make some comments or ask some questions, okay? And would you identify yourself?
My name is Steve Penny Papagoyannis. I live at the front of Forest Lakes, 551 Forest Lakes Drive.
Welcome, Missy.
Hello. First off, I'm not trying to complain. I just want to have preventative maintenance, so there's no issues with the front road. I'm just gonna read what I sent to Bruce and to the board members, in reference to concern about our front ditch. The ditch in the front of our property has been maintained by us for almost 18 years. Last year's maintenance was incredibly difficult as silt turned into sand and other residents' debris, sediment, and chemicals end up at the front of Forest Lakes. We contacted maintenance and Trevor sent another gentleman, and I'm sorry I do not remember that gentleman's name, to come in and assess the situation. And at the time, he felt that they would figure something out, but they didn't know what they were gonna do. But they did come over and use the bucket and try to push some of the sediment back. I ended up using sandbags, rock, and compacting the granite. I can't remember what it is. It's the base that my husband had got, because literally you would stand on it and it would collapse. And it's happened 3 times in one weekend. And it's built up with rock right now, but that's a temporary situation.
I read your email
Mhm.
and I can't picture it. Is this so your driveway, I know your lot.
Mhm.
Okay, is this so your driveway goes over it or what?
No,
No.
if you're
I'm standing,
if you're standing in at the front of my driveway, looking at the front of Forest Lakes. So you're standing
okay,
literally looking at the front of Forest Lakes
Yeah.
entrances.
yeah,
The ditch here that goes around and then by the utility boxes.
yeah,
This entire area in front of the rocks is a sandbar.
okay,
It has accumulated a ton of sediment. It's eroded immensely. I've had an issue with that as well. And after looking at the pictures that I had taken in the last 18 years, it's eroded immensely.
okay,
So I have on my part, we're getting some Indian grass in. We're going to make sure that's level, is our plan. But the rocks that are there also, when they put the fiber optics in, CenturyLink left those rocks. So the only reason we stacked them there is so it would look more aesthetically pleasing. We didn't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
I don't know if those could be utilized, but I just know that once spring comes, it's gonna wash out.
okay. Your property's gonna wash out or the road is gonna wash out?
The road is
The
going.
road coming down?
No, at the front, the utility boxes.
Yes,
Going down towards
Yeah.
the front Forest Lakes, as it's turning,
yeah,
going to my driveway, that entire area where it turns to Forest Lakes Drive
yeah,
is all sand, where not only is the road pushing in this way, my ditch is overflowing with sand and over the road.
okay. Is there a pipe there?
There is a pipe, but that area, there's not an issue after the pipe. There's a
Okay.
minimal issue in comparison to the corner.
Yeah,
so it's basically right at the turn. Okay,
And it's
Okay.
not, and there's a manhole there, but there's been issues with that. It's almost or was completely full. When I discussed this with them, I think they had to bore it out. So I don't know, I believe it's more of an engineering issue, but I only have a shovel. Yeah, I can only do so much, and I
Yeah.
can't do anything on the roadside,
Yeah.
obviously. So I wanted to know what we could do to help you guys, or
Yeah,
if we could look at that before spring hits.
because the water comes rushing down and you're right at the end of the hill.
And I get
Yeah.
everything.
And it's has to make a
Yes.
turn and water wants to go straight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it something that you guys can get together
Oh, yeah.
and take? another look at?
Yeah, and we'll bring
Okay.
other staff.
But we can't.
Oh, it's fine.
with shovel.
Yeah, I know. I went over today, but there's still so much snow on it right now. I couldn't.
And even
Yeah.
when they've been plowing, and I know everybody's kind of new in that aspect. They could actually, if it was built up a little better, they could push out maybe this much more to widen that road towards the ditch. I think it would make a big difference in the width of that road to begin with. Because the structure of it is just, it's starting to fail.
Okay, well, thanks for bringing it to our attention.
Yeah.
And if you would get with Bruce. here
Absolutely.
the Next day or so.
Yeah, she emailed me today. I went out and looked, but then,
Okay. Yeah.
Because of the
well,
snow, I didn't see anything,
yeah, now we
but-
may have
but
to-
we've communicated.
Right.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
hopefully beforehand, we can get in front
Okay.
of, get in front of it instead of responding to
Okay.
a flood.
Yeah.
And I know that whole area right down there is kind of bad, because I go up past your house,
Mhm.
up through all those houses down at the bottom. And the potholes down there are horrendous. But it's partly the nature of the amount of traffic, you know, the fact that it's low and kind of flat, it's hard to get enough crown on it. I don't know what all the issues are, I'm not a road engineer, but
I'm not either, but I think it's something you guys are gonna have serious issues with in the near future.
Yeah.
The only other thing I had, was I was told approximately a year and a half ago that CenturyLink boxes were to be moved or going to be moved to a different location. I do not know if that is true. All I know is that when they originally had the contract for those boxes, it was gonna be a temporary pedestal and then it was gonna be moved across the street. My concern with it is the fact that they know the engineer that I talked to before with CenturyLink and one of their main personnel had told us they were aware that they could only be 25 feet within a residence and they are impeding on that. So I would like to know if that could be brought up on your next meeting and discussed.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
okay.
I mean, who told, was it our staff or was it CenturyLink?
CenturyLink.
Okay, I'll have to try. and-
Yeah.
Trying-
Doesn't have anything to do with that.
Pardon?
The metro doesn't have anything to do with that.
I don't know, but I will, I've never spoken to anybody there, so it'll be just good to make some contact and just kind of say, this is what I
And I
understand.
future plans for any of that corner or you guys had
So that
going.
was 2005, 2006 when they put that in, right?
And that's when I built the house, was 2005, I moved in. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was temporary in my understanding because the area is so rocky. that They had planned on putting it to the center and it also had to do with the road structure for future.
No chance you got anything in writing?
I have some. I
That
do.
might be something you
I
might want to
have,
bring
I
up.
have emails, I have pictures, I have video, I have multiple information I just have to gather it all.
You might
The
want-
email with the name, that would be helpful for me
Okay,
as I backtrack.
Bruce would offer to help you talking to CenturyLink, but I think it's a CenturyLink issue. I don't think we have.
well, it wasn't approved by the board each time they did something with the pedestals. It had to be, and this was over the last 18 years. So
Yeah.
all that information.
If you've got information, that's power.
Yeah.
That would help us or help Bruce
Yeah,
Yeah.
move forward on helping make it come,
Okay,
because then he's got something to refer to.
Yeah.
right,
And at this point, Bruce is new. He joined us in April, and so he's still kind of learning what's
Right.
what. And so any documentation that we have that we can offer,
okay,
you know, some proof that says, yeah, it was, this is,
right.
it's very helpful.
Well, and it's also some information in minutes as well, so I will gather what
Perfect.
I have and get with you and
Perfect.
see what we need to do. But I just wanted to say those things and
perfect.
Okay.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, I guarantee you that the people who installed that at CenturyLink probably don't work there anymore either, so. you know,
Yeah,
you
probably
get to
not.
see that too, so.
And I have to say, not to burst anybody's bubble of hope, but when I moved into my house, they had wires running across my yard to neighbors' lots. And it took me 2 years And I finally had to dig my own trench, and they finally brought me some cable, and I laid the cable, their cable in my trench across my yard. So that I could get that cable up, because CenturyLink wouldn't do it. So.
No, there's a
I
huge,
think it's not
there's a
always
huge-
easy to do it.
I was gonna say, I'm sorry, Mark.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, there's a huge long CenturyLink cable on Ridgetop Circle 2 that runs, I would say, in excess of probably a couple of 100 feet, just over the ground. So,
I ran 400 feet across my lot and the neighbor's lot.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was, and they wouldn't do anything about it, so.
it's just sitting there.
Yep, anyway, okay. So we went a little bit long there. I probably should have shortened that, public comment. up a little
I'm
bit.
hoping we can help him.
Yeah, I hope we can too.
Well,
That's our desire, is to try to do the best we can for everybody.
Yeah,
But is there anybody else that would like to make any comments and speak up at this point?
Well, there was a question about the fees on the online paying. $320, I believe is what Betsy said.
$395.
$395. And the question also is do we have to have that kind of a fee? Because if we wanted more people to join in, that's a turnoff. It's a turnoff for me.
Okay, well, we're kind of suffering from being very transparent. All those, everybody who does that, that fee is embedded in whether they disclose it or it's already embedded in the fee that they actually charge and don't say anything. The bank, or not the bank, but the third party, that's their fee. Just like a credit card charges usually anywhere 2 to 3% to the vendor.
So that pays the vendor that's actually processing.
That third party.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's so if we just, I mean, let's put it this way, if we didn't do that, then we would be eating that cost.
Yeah, and so one way or the other, it's going to be paid.
Well, somebody will pay it.
Yeah,
But I'm not so sure that charging I mean, if we want them to do online paying, if that's something that would help out our office staff, then we're gonna have to make it a little more appealing. But I won't do it because of that fee.
Yeah, and I don't either. What I do is I have it debited straight out of my checking account. And they actually cut a paper check, and my bank cuts a paper check and mails it to the Metro specifically for that reason, because I don't want to pay the fee either.
Exactly.
So,
That's a nice feature that you've got there. But that is a concern.
It is a concern, this isn't the only place that has that fee. When I pay the water bill for my house up in North Dakota, I have to pay a 3% fee for paying with online.
Yeah. But we're just.
I know.
it's not uncommon, let's say, if we were to just change the fee to whatever it is that included that, nobody would see it, and maybe they wouldn't ask, but we said, here's
but then
what the fee is, but
budgeted in anyway, somehow we're gonna.
Correct.
collect That fee.
so that's what I'm saying, we're kind of suffering from being a little open about it, that's all.
Yeah. It looks like there's a Julie wants to ask a question, or
Go up. I don't know if we missed one.
Julie, no, she's gonna, I think they can just open up the line and she can ask.
Yeah, I sent Bruce an email, Bruce. It was about the public land trust, the trust land up there, to be able to grate a parking area for people to go snowshoeing. There is a trail up there. I know there's no trespassing signs, but it's trust land and you can hike up there. This is going, Bruce, from what is it, Hillside north towards Vallecito.
Yeah,
So
well,
there's-
I'm sorry, Julie, I went up there with Trevor because I didn't know where it was, and then when I saw that, and that's when I emailed you back, said, is that stuff with the no trespassing signs?
Yeah,
And I guess it is, so we were at the right place, but I was a little surprised because there was a lot of no trespassing signs, so it concerned me a little bit about whether we should be making it easier to go in there. I don't know the circumstances with that land, but I'll tell you, those signs were a little, put me off. So if there's a little more information about that, I mean, if it is allowed, then it is, but I said it was a little startling. No,
yeah, there's some other signs as you get into it on a few trees that state that you can, you can be up there, no ATVs unless you're a member. There's no hunting. It is trust land, but people can go up there and hike. A lot of people go up there and hike and run and snowshoe.
So-
But with the plowing and the roads, there's just no way for us to get up there.
No?
I can try and get you more information, Bruce.
That would be great, because like you said, I was a little surprised. What street is that on again?
Hillside,
Okay, yeah.
And they used to
or is it
plow
Hill?
that where you had places to park, they would clear that like a cul-de-sac or something, they would clear space for that, I believe.
Yeah, there is.
You could go, park right there in the cul-de-sac and then you could go snowshoeing or.
Yeah, typically even without snow, there's only place for maybe 2 cars. So, it's not a big area.
Yeah, like I said, Trevor and I went up there and looked at it because I wanted to see what it was to get an idea of what it was. And so I kind of have a lay of the land, but like you said, I was a little surprised with all those signs. So I was intimidated. So if you got some more information,
Was there a contact number on those signs?
no.
Okay.
There is a contact number on the signs further
Oh.
in. 'Cause I think it splits off. There might be like private land over here and trust land over here, and there's a road that goes through. There's several roads actually. So I'll see what I can get for you. I may not be able to get you the contact information until spring.
But
It's okay.
Julie, what I think I hear you saying is that on the Forest Lakes Road is
Mm-hmm.
what you're asking to be cleared up a little better. Is that,
Yeah,
I understand correctly?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
there's width there.
yeah,
That's the thing.
yeah, the south side of the road has a little pull off area.
Yeah, okay.
Well, we won't ignore that. We will try to get more information about it. and see
Sure.
Whether there's something we can do. So,
Yeah, I'll see what I can get for you.
That would be helpful for people if we could do something. So,
Okay,
thanks, Julie.
thank you. Thank you.
I noticed there's another chat question. When will we get fiber optic for internet? Again, that's not anything that the Metro has any involvement in. I don't know how we could get that information. I suppose when Bruce tries to contact CenturyLink about those boxes, maybe he can get some information on that. But that's one of those things, probably contacting CenturyLink directly. I tried for several years talking with CenturyLink to find the same thing out. I wanted fiber optic for my internet and I couldn't get it. And they kept saying, oh yeah, it'll eventually be there. Oh yeah, it'll eventually be. After 3 years of that, I gave up asking them because every time I asked them, they didn't have it and they didn't know when it might happen. One other thing I'll mention about that though, a lot of people don't know about it. In my case, I found out that I could get 2 pairs coming into my house. I had to get a special modem, but I now have 20 megabit per second internet from CenturyLink because I have 2 lines coming into my house into a single modem.
do you pay for 2 different lines?
I pay extra. The modem was twice as expensive and I'm paying for 2 lines. But if somebody wants faster internet, there is an opportunity even without fiber optic to do a little better. I'll just
Starlink.
mention that.
Just a heads up too, at the front page of the Herald, mentioned that Southwest lawmakers are lobbying Governor Poulos to get broadband down here. So I think there's some bigger issues than just CenturyLink, I think.
Yeah. I hope that comes through eventually.
Yeah, agreed.
Another,
I see one more question there.
Fire hydrants.
Somebody's asking about the fire hydrants. I don't know if you want to address that, Bruce. This is the first winter you've been through here, but,
I guess,
people have been doing it,
I know Stephanie did, but they
Stephanie does,
also did.
and Steve, he does it, they're at the corner, they're at Little Bear Lane and Little Bear
Yeah.
Drive, he has, yeah, and so I know people have been going in and doing it,
is that the question though? Is it clearing it as in snow?
Fire
Yeah, I
We-
posted on the Forest Lakes Facebook page for everybody to keep their fire hydrants clean. And of course, you have some people that don't want to and feel it's Forest Lakes job, and Upper Pine River has put out things a couple of years saying, please keep them clean. It's the residents.
Well,
So,
I believe it's actually the Metro's responsibility, and I know that in years past, when we've had a lot of snow, they have run
They have.
around with backhoe and they have cleared them out. I mean, with only 6 guys out there, when they're trying to manage the snow, sometimes that's not a priority, so I think all of us can help the Metro a little bit where we have the opportunity to keep it clear, but the actual answer is Metro is responsible for checking those and making sure that they're kept clear.
Yeah, Trevor, why don't you
Yeah.
kind of weigh in on that question? Because I know you guys were doing some of them. I just don't know how far along you got.
Yeah, correct. Yep, we are hitting them, as we're going by them. Obviously, we got a bunch of them out there, but like right now, our main concern is to get the pack off the roads. But I do have some guys going around and clearing out those hydrants. It's gonna take some time, but we are doing it. And
Trevor, do you know off the top of your head roughly how many fire hydrants we have?
I want to say there's 84.
I think he's right. I think he
Okay,
got that.
I just don't see how you guys can do it. Because I keep ours clean and in one snow, it could be, covered or snow blowing and it's just. Anyway,
And
Yeah.
then
Just
going
hope that
across
maybe
the
we can
road,
clean them up, and that's why I cleaned the one across from my house too.
That's what that goes across the road.
It really is just a joint effort, regardless who's really responsible for it. It's a joint effort.
It's for your safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I clear mine, because if something happens to my house or my neighbor's house,
Yeah.
I want to know the fire hydrant's accessible. And, with 6 guys, I know sometimes it's hard for them to get to that, so. Okay.
totally agree.
Okay.
Thank you, Julie.
Yep.
Is there anybody else that had any comments that they would like to chime in with?
You can
How
put
about
your
the signs on the equipment?
I guess there's a way you can raise your hand if you want to speak. I'm not seeing anybody else
You see anybody?
raising a
Jamie?
hand.
I think you've got it all. I don't see anything else.
Okay, I always appreciate having people on these meetings. I wish more people would attend because I think when everybody hears the same thing at the same time, I think it helps reduce some of the confusion and some of the miscommunication. So anyway, thanks for the people that asked questions. They're helpful.
One other question,
Okay.
signs on the equipment, that say Forest Lakes.
Yeah.
Did we run out of signs? That, like what's going on the vehicles that have on the magnet side or on the
Oh,
rear side?
yeah. Okay, now what's the question? I know what you're talking about.
Do we run out of them or? Cause like the little plow, it was going around without a sign on it.
Oh, could have fallen off. I've lost
And.
2 and 2 were about to fall off, so maybe you did with the snow. I don't know. We have some more to answer your
We do have
question.
more.
So if we're
That
missing,
would be good.
yeah,
Yeah, because I know like there's been some public people that want to go out and plow and the response has been, no liability, we can't do that.
Yeah.
So just as long as it's a vehicle that has a sign on it, we're good.
yeah. I see Trevor. I can see you right there. We'll just make sure that we've got those on the doors
Sounds
on
good.
every vehicle. Trevor, I didn't realize that
And
some
if
of
they
it
keep falling off, maybe we need to look for another vendor that makes one that sticks on it.
stronger, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I watch the truck every week and I pull it off. Put it back. I don't know what it's off and on, but I mean, I clean it and
Yeah,
those,
those aren't gonna last forever.
but I'm surprised at how, like I said, I've lost 2 completely, just have no idea. And then others you can see they're all ripply. And then, so I take it off so I don't lose it, but
Well, instead of magnets, we thought about doing an actual decal.
I guess that's an option
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, that might, if we could get a bunch of screen prints that you just peel the backing off and.
It's a sticker that.
Yeah, stay
That
on.
might be worth
Question
looking
about, if we're seeing another rate increase this year. The answer is yes. There will be another rate increase come what, September?
Yeah, it's for the rate study was for the next 5 or 6 years.
It's
It's
2025.
10% a year.
Yeah, the first year was a lot more, but the other 2 years or 3 years or whatever are 10%.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next, we're ready for the report section. Manager's report is first. And I know that we preempted, one of the topics that we've had to talk about with regards to roads. So you don't have to repeat that. part,
Okay.
But if you would, Roger.
Thank you very much. Well, then I'm gonna start with, as I said, we had a tragic accident. We had a gentleman who was killed while driving a snowmobile last week, or it was a week and a half ago now. And there was another individual, a small
You know, we had
young
a
man.
snowmobile that came up, it would come up fast a couple of times. Exactly.
Just down our two, that's.
And it was on the road.
And it was a man with a young boy on the back.
Was that who? Okay.
So,
I contacted the sheriff's department to see if I could get some information, and I double checked with him again yesterday, and he said, since it's still in investigation, that he couldn't release any information. So I keep checking on that to see if there's anything. And so it's a very tragic accident doing that. Looking forward to the coming year. There's been probably the most comments or questions that I've been asked about the dam and I'm not the dam, the lake, and what we're going to do, and we're going to drain it and all those sort of things. Well, in the short time I've been here, the whole project has kind of morphed rather dramatically. The original project was just relining the pipe, and that's easy enough, relatively easy and inexpensive. The problem when the engineer started looking at it, and I was talking to the dam inspector, is that we have we're not exactly sure how long that rod is that opens and closes the valve, and that valve's been underwater for about 70 years. It's, to the best of our knowledge, never seen the light of day. So we don't know if that rod that opens and closes it, what the condition of that is, and it's underwater, nor the valve. It was also going to be an issue when we relined the pipe, is how to deal with that valve and how to get down to it. And so we had a meeting with the dam inspector, our engineer, and Trevor was there too, and some of our other staff to kind of go over what was going on. And one of the things, first thing we found out is that we couldn't just reline the pipe, just get a vendor to do it. It has to be an engineered drawing that is approved by the state. So that was news, so that put it off. But then after we all sat around, or not sat, we were standing there looking at it, the preliminary idea that we're working on right now is that we would put a coffer dam around it to section off where that valve is, and then drain and dewater that, but we wouldn't have to pump it out of the lake. I mean, it would still be in the lake, but out of that area, so we could inspect that valve and that rod, because the dam inspector also goes, if at any point in time you cannot open or close that valve, you will have to drain that lake completely. I mean, that's just
So
what he
to
said.
get, I'm sorry. To get to the valve, we don't have to drain the lake, or we do have to drain?
Well, some of it, a coffer dam is, for lack of a better word, is like we get a little dam around it and then we take the water out of it.
Okay.
But we can put that back in the lake without draining the entire lake
Okay.
to get down to it. So but it's very expensive.
Essentially, it's just a temporary structure built around this thing. So
Made out of what?
Jersey barriers,
Plastic.
sand.
It could be all kinds of,
Or-
depends on how deep it has to be. There's a lot of variables in there. So we're working under that assumption. He hasn't even started drawing it yet, so it's not, chances of anything happening this year are not good. Just to get it not only engineered, but then to pass through the state to be approved to whatever it is. And then we got to see, then we'll have to bid it out to see what that's going to cost, which is going to be a substantial amount of money.
Divers to check it out? Or they physically
No,
have to see it?
no,
It has to be
in
dry.
order to inspect it, you have to like take it apart and
Okay.
line.
Yeah.
But if I might make a suggestion.
Sure.
Versus just inspection, we know it's super old and it's probably way outdated valve anyways, might as well just plan on replacing it. We're gonna spend the money to build a coffer dam. Might as well fix it before it becomes a problem.
I think that we're on the same page on that. I mean, that's in talking to the engineer, it's like, if we just do it, we don't have to worry about it. And then plan on putting kind of like a manhole down there, so it around it, so it would be dry going forward. Like a little tower, so that if we ever needed to get in there, we can. And to be able to open and operate that without that piece of metal that's probably 40 feet long. That, again, we don't know. We have that little wheel at the top, and when we had to open it for them, let it run for a while. So it opened, we were happy, but then we had to close it. That's the next thing,
Yeah,
is
that's
we're worried.
really top and down, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's where you open and close it, but that, you watch that rod, it goes all the way down into the water. And we just don't know the condition of that. So that's kind of what's going on with that project. So I don't see anything. If it would be hugely amazing if we were able to move forward this year on that, but we can get everything set up for it. But what we've had happen this year, this summer, is, and the dam inspector noted, is we've had a lot of growth. And that's probably because there haven't been fish put in it for the last couple of years. So I'm gonna get some this year, not the like 500 or 600 they normally do, but some to just manage the growth that's going on in there, because it was noted by the inspector that that was something he didn't want to see. So it's more of a natural way to do it. We got people can fish. It's kind of a win-win.
Are we gonna try to divert and make sure water does get into the lake
Oh,
now?
oh yeah,
Oh, good. Okay, this is sounding better.
yeah, we're gonna try. So that's the game plan on that. And also, there's never been, and right now, as I speak, we are not planning to drain the lake. Never did. So I know that that's been out there, because I've had an enormous number of questions about that, and people stopping by, calling. We don't plan on doing that.
Okay.
But prior to your time, that had been discussed rather than a copper dam. That's why people had heard that.
Okay,
So
Yes.
that's what you're dealing with, is the previous thought had been, we're gonna have to drain the lake. Well,
And they stopped letting water go in and all that stuff.
yeah.
No
a whole
more
variety of
fish.
things, But you have a whole different perspective on it, which I think makes more sense. And so if our intent now is not to drain the lake, I think that's a good thing. When people ask, we can share that information.
yeah, the other thing is in looking at just the water. The water itself is so valuable in a number of reasons. So the primary one is for fire protection. So if we were to drain it, we would lose that potential option. So I don't want to lose that. The second one is, in talking to our water commissioner, is in the event of a really dry year, and they call it, the river goes into, there's a term for it, but basically low water. If we release water out of our lake, then we get credit for it, and instead of having to pay an exorbitant fee to take water that we have reserved up there, so we can trade off. So there's a lot of value in that, even though it's just sitting there. So we're going to try our best to get all that water in there. We've already made the ditch that's coming in. We know there's some leaks. We've already acquired some culvert to fix that. We're also became aware through our water commissioner, there's a couple more head gates that are way up somewhere near unit 3. And so we had to go up there and make sure they're open and see if that path way down to get into Bear Creek, because that it feeds into that, is open. And so that's on the radar.
Excellent.
And so we're going to try everything we can to get as much water in there as we can.
And
For
I
as
know
long as
in
we
a
can.
previous discussion too, we had talked about, we know how many acre feet were authorized.
Right.
We need, when we get in there and start looking, we need to see whether or not we should be dredging part of it in order to get the maximum amount of water we can.
Yeah, I've got to try and get, I've tried one, I just haven't gotten a response for a surveyor to survey the lake, give me a bid anyway, to see what it is, to see where we're at. And they check the depth as well as the perimeter and stuff like that, and they can calculate what it is. We know, again, Warren, our water commissioner, gave me all that information. He was wonderful in that regard. So we now know what we can legally have. And if we're short, I mean, if it's silted in from I don't know how many years, then we could take it out to our limit. But we need to know where we're at. We don't know that now.
Another resource for figuring out how much room we have right now, the college. We in Durango when they sent those robots to our reservoir up there and actually made us a 3D model of it. And gave us,
Fort Lewis?
yeah,
I'll be talking to you.
That might be.
I'm gonna talk to you again out offline after this, because that would be really cool, yeah.
And that may be cheaper too,
It could be.
and quicker.
And.
Yeah, oh my God, trying to get anybody to return a phone call is nearly impossible now, but anyway. Okay, I got a little sidetracked now, but that's okay. The next one is a rule that's coming up by the Environmental Protection Agency, it's a federal agency, that it's called the lead service line rule, and I'm gonna give you the Reader's Digest version of this, is they want to find out where there are lead lines, which is admirable. Because there's obviously been some issues with that, but so they put that onto the state. So the state of Colorado is now putting on every water agency to determine that. They're not giving us any money to do that. They're just saying, you need to figure that out. We need to go through and find out all our lines as well as the service lines, which is a problem for us that we've been discussing internally as well as with some of the water people, is like they're wanting us to go on private property and see what their line is made out
Now,
of.
they haven't given us any details or guidelines yet.
There are some, they're still working on them. They've got some like draft ones out there, but there's been people that have been giving a huge pushback on that. So they're still considering it, but we have a pretty good idea that we're gonna basically have to develop whether it's on a spreadsheet or a database, every address that has a house on it.
Or water service, there are places with.
Correct.
water.
Tap water, yeah.
Yeah, anywhere there's a tap. And if there's a house on it, we have to know, it would have
What year it was
the
built.
date that it was built. And a few other bits of information that we have to do that, but and then we have to go inspect them. There's some,
That's gonna be hard to find out if the material used was lead. I would think. I
Right.
mean, everything else you could do. I would guess that that's gonna be easy for you to get the addresses, tap water, dates that was installed, and the year that the house was built. That stuff you've probably got, but that whether the material was lead would be kind of tricky. And I don't know when the last time lead was allowed to be used.
well, that's what we have an idea of. I think it was 1986 is when it was outlawed. But one of the things, and I think Corey mentioned that to me last week, is like, well, there could be galvanized, but they use lead solder. So I don't know whether that counts or not. So
Yeah, I
this
had
is,
mentioned that you can use copper, and they were still using lead solder with copper.
yeah,
After that date. Now, there was a point in time when lead solder was outlawed, but I
Right.
don't know when that was.
I don't know the date on that either, but actually didn't even think about that till he had mentioned it. So I'll be checking with our water guy on that. And these are some things we're trying to figure out. But the point being, if we have roughly 850 homes to go and dig up and look and see. And in some of the rules that they were suggesting is that they want us to go into the house and see what was, under the sink. And I'm like, no.
It's apparent that
Yeah.
you're going to be able to develop a population of suspect houses.
Right.
In that case, then we may have to develop a survey that we provide to the owners. And they fill it out and send something back. Or if they don't know and they would prefer, that we may be able to offer the opportunity to go in and look at the pipes.
Yeah,
So it may not be as bad as it sounds on the surface.
it may not, but it's just one of those,
Probably won't be, but it's gonna still be a chore.
oh, it's a
things we do too is, well, we'll just go to the meter pit, and if it's copper going out, or if it's galvanized going out, or if it's PEX going out, the odds are that is what's ran through the house.
Mhm.
That's how we've been getting our survey done.
Yeah.
We're not going inside the house, we're just going to the meter.
So you're actually in process of doing the survey right now.
Oh, we're done. We
Oh,
have
you're done. Well, you might have some information, some lessons learned that you can share.
see how you did it. Did you do it on just like an Excel spreadsheet, or did you do?
We have
the
it
da-
on an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, I just got the stuff from the county last week and downloaded the stuff, and then we've got to get our information and port it in there.
But then what?
Well, it's still, I guess my point being is this is just
And it makes the state happy.
a responsibility that we've got to do. It's work that we have to do and are not going to be compensated for it. It's a rule that,
Right.
it's an unfunded mandate is what it is. And it's just, Anyway,
I can help
yeah.
if you need.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that also, and I'm gonna guess we'll probably be doing a lot of digging around this summer, so if people see us out there digging around a lot, then that's kind of what's going on, because we kind of got it, has to be done by 2024. So we got to get it done this
You know,
year.
if you were to send out a survey, a lot of people might be able to answer the question right off, and you wouldn't even have to go look. In my case, all the way from my service, all the way into my house is PEX, my whole house is PEX. So there would be no point in me even going look at it.
Well, but here's the problem is will that be an acceptable response to the powers that be? The homeowner says it's X. And that's what I still don't know the answer, whether we take somebody's word or they'll take that as an answer. So,
Well, and depending upon the year that it was built, you'll be able to probably, shave off a lot.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if we could take stuff that was built in 1990, we probably don't have to look too hard. Everything probably
And there was
short
a
of
lot
that, we'll have to
stuff,
look
yeah.
and we have to see, but that's still gonna be probably a few hundred homes. It's just, again, it's just time and with our minimum staff,
Yeah.
it's just another thing to do.
There's a question.
Jamie's not doing it.
Um,
She's got her hands full.
Is it legal to have snowmobiles and ATVs on the road? The answer is no, because
No.
they're not licensed.
And it's posted at the signs too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
There is
they,
no-
Okay.
they just need to be, licensed to be on the road, and if they're not, then they shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
They need to be road legal license,
correct.
because there are licensing for ATVs some places, but that does not make them legal on the road.
Okay,
It makes them legal for trail.
okay, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah.
Two more quick things that weren't on my report, but I'm gonna mention, there's been some discussion with the fire department that they've shared with me that looks like BLM is looking to do some fire mitigation up in the northern part of our district. And so they haven't contacted me yet, but I expect that to happen probably this month or early next month. Kind of see what they have in mind. Because I don't know exactly. I was just kind of given the heads up by someone in Upper Pine.
Are you thinking something similar to what they did over there by our emergency exit this past fall?
The information I got was going to be substantially larger.
Oh, okay.
Logging involved and stuff like that. That's all I know at this point, but it's sort of a good news, if you will, for fire mitigation, but how,
It's probably gonna take a toll on our roads.
well, if that's what their plan is, and I don't know, that's what I don't know. So I haven't spoken with BLM yet. I'm expecting them to hopefully reach out in the near future.
Okay.
And just one other sort of kudos to our staff. One of the mailboxes a couple weeks ago got the back where they actually load the mail, the latch broke. And so I was talking to the postmaster about it, and she goes, oh, it's gonna be, whatever time till they get somebody out there. But in the meantime, all those people are having to go down to Bayfield to get their mail because they couldn't put it in there because the latch was broken, it wasn't secure. So I was contacted by one of the residents, says, hey, is there anything you can do? And I go, I didn't know anything about it, but went down there, I talked to the postmaster, and I said, well, can I have my guys look at it? And she said, sure. So they went out there, same day, that I found out, talked to the postmaster, our guys fixed it. So congrats to them for just looking at it, realizing what it's doing, and just some of the skill sets that we have with some of our guys. That's not our responsibility, just kind of FYI. But because we had people having to run to Bayfield to get their news or their mail.
16 still has no door.
Is that the
They're
front
using it
door?
for Trash. Those numbers, they're right at the side there, next to the
Are
building.
those the boxes?
Yeah,
where
big
put-
boxes.
They put the big boxes in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Big
we
boxes.
replaced two of those. We got to put locks in the second one yet, but
No
there are,
door on the large one of those big.
yeah, well, we're gonna have to replace that. We can't get parts for those
So,
things.
so I'll just point out now, I mean, a lot of people, not a lot, we've had questions about what the mailbox fees fund. This is just a
That kind
couple
of stuff.
examples right here.
Yeah.
And there is a cost associated with fixing these things, so.
Yeah, and some of those are plastic, which is surprising. So I think that's not a good thing. We're gonna have to replace just the regular, the smaller ones, the metal ones. We've got some other ones that are damaged that will, the big parcel ones, and we'll try and take some. We took a couple of them out already, but we'll probably get some more. But we just can't get parts for those. They're very old, but we just, those need to be upgraded to make sure that they're metal and secure, and because some of those are very, very old. So that's what the overwhelming majority of the money's going to, because those things, that package locker was, I believe, $2,500. So they're fairly expensive, and that adds up after a while. And I believe, and that concludes my report.
Okay,
Thank you.
any questions about that? Okay, office manager administration, do we have the office manager report?
We do.
Okay,
All righty. So we processed 5 title transfers, 6 title requests, 3 intent to file a lien, which were collected on, 4 shut-off notices, which were also collected on. 108 friendly reminders were sent out. 11 fob agreements were created. 50 account info was updated. We sent out over 1,200, or we processed over 1,200 payments. 24 pay by text, 473 card payments, 87 made through Payport, 620 payments made in-house, whether people stopped and dropped off cash or checks. We have approximately 512 people registered for paperless, 165 are registered for auto pay. We've had 636 people view our business profile on Google, and 273 have searched Forest Lakes via Google. Office internet connection and phone lines have been extremely unreliable, crashing several times daily when the weather is bad. Please be patient when calling in the office. We are hoping the issue gets resolved soon. When calling our after-hours emergency number, which is located on every page of our website, please make sure and leave a message for the guys. Those calls are being transferred to a cell phone, and sometimes they're out of range. So if you leave a message, they can check that when they're back in range. As far as Casell, we had several more corrections done. We had updated the vendor addresses and corrected how Medicaid was calculated for payroll. All the utility management, all the payments that we received from residents were being allocated. And this issue happened when they implemented the new software. They did not set up the data correctly. So all those payments were being allocated to the water connection account. So that's all been corrected. Another error from conversion was we needed, although the bank balanced, the book balance was not the same. Now we have them both matching. We also needed to add pay codes for timekeeping that were missing. We set up, or I'm in the process of setting up a login for the accountant. And we have completed and submitted all the quarterly reports for payroll. We've also been taking some online courses, training for getting ready for the election, preparing and printing forms and documents, updating the website. We are currently accepting self-nom forms for the 2023 election, which will be held on May 2nd. Deadline for the self-nom forms is February 24th. Forms can be found on our website, or you can stop by the office. We've got forms in the office that you can pick up. The completed forms can be dropped off at the office, or you're welcome to email them to me at office@flmd.com. We'll have 3 seats available. We also have the application for absentee ballots on the website, because this election will be a mail-out ballot. Miscellaneous stuff, I reviewed the greater rental agreement and had it revised to show that we are tax exempt. I'm working with the postmaster to get an accurate list of residents so that we can update our information as far as who's paying for mailboxes. We have updated the FLMD calendar, reflect all the holidays and board meetings for the next year. And that's all I have.
Okay, Jamie, I have one question.
Yes.
In the first section there, you mentioned 108 friendly reminders went out. Isn't that
Yes,
excessive compared to what we
Yes.
normally see?
it is. And we had an update to Cassell, which that update caused some errors to the system and may have contributed to that.
Oh, so that may not be a valid number then.
Correct.
Okay. I'll wait and see next week, next month, if it looks like it's come down to something more normal.
I
Okay.
agree. That would be a good idea.
All right.
Just, I wanted to mention one thing Jamie touched on. I mean, they're doing a great job. I mean, they're just buried in, some of the things they have to hoops they have to jump through with Cassell is unbelievable. The amount of time on the phone is excessive. But the one thing I really wanted to focus on is that internet, because one of the things I want everyone to know is our internet runs our telephones as well as obviously our internet that we're using right now, but all our applications, our finance stuff, all the invoice stuff, it's all run via that, and it goes down.
Power.
Well, that's more than that. Even, I won't say every single day, but almost. And there was a day a couple of weeks ago, went off at like 11 o'clock and didn't come back on. We were dead in the water. We can't do anything. So I got to get a more reliable internet service.
So how will we get the signal into the building? I mean, I know you have a vendor that's providing these services, but whose lines are they using? Are they using CenturyLink?
No, we have a antenna right up here.
so-
It's a wireless shot.
Wireless.
And it goes to, there's an antenna on somebody's property somewhere over there, and then it shoots up to the tower up above. So it's kind of because we don't have a straight angle, the tower that's up on the hill past the rec center, that one. So there's someone that's more straight ahead that we can see the line of sight. I was talking to the guy because we had it changed already. It got better, but now it's constantly going down. I mean, almost every day. And when it does that, nobody can do anything because we're all tied. All our applications and everything is basically, I mean, there might be a few little things, but when we were down, it went off at 11 in the morning and it did not come back on. We came back the next day and it was on, but it was like, we lost an entire afternoon.
So is there any discussion about how that might be remedied?
Yeah. Starlink.
So how does that compare to price?
Well, I haven't done it yet, but that's just when one of our employees has it and just got it. And so I've been, every time she comes in, I kind of quiz her on how it's going and whatever. And so far it's pretty good, but that's kind of what I'm looking at right now because we just can't have it constantly going down because nothing works
And
then.
during heaviest snow events, that's not gonna be an issue with Starlink?
Doesn't happen to be. This last one, I specifically asked that question and apparently it worked pretty well, but there's also, I guess, she said that there's a heater on it. So,
Even when there's power outages, because I know
well, if you got it on a UPS unit, yeah.
we're totally out of power. We have been flicks on, flicks off,
Right.
or it's off for a while or whatever in our area. And I know that it doesn't affect everybody, like the lower area here in Forest Lakes will continue to work. but be up higher or is without, you get a tree limb that hits a wire and power
You know,
outage.
snow drops out of the trees,
Or-
hits the lines and.
And
Yeah.
with that, does flicker sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah, but it kicked my modem offline and then
Mine
now.
too.
for-
Well, if you put that, which is what I did here, I put all our internet stuff on a UPS unit. So when we get those sags, it stays. And I just got another one to put on our Xerox machine because that thing had to keep cycling up.
If he's got it on a UPS, then that's gonna solve a high percentage of that too.
Actually,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, you just gotta keep power to the modem.
As long as
So-
they keep power.
Well, but a
Generator.
UPS,
Generator here? This
Here?
one? Yeah.
no,
Okay, that's just out
Game
there at
plan.
the shop.
yes.
Okay, well, thank you for mentioning that. Was there
Yeah.
anything
Thank
else?
you.
No, I just wanted to just kind of let you know that it's very aggravating and just
Yeah.
frustrating. Is it gets down. That, I mean, we'll hear me, oh, the internet's down.
Jamie, I have a question. So the ballots are being mailed out. Do we mail them back in?
Yes,
Okay.
you can mail them or you can drop them off, either way.
Have to be, you have to get them by May 22nd. No. By May 20,
February 24th.
February 24th for
Oh, no.
the
That's for this,
nomination, but
May
May
2nd
2nd,
in the mail.
May 2nd is when they need.
Okay.
Yeah,
we
Julie,
have
I
to,
see your
yeah,
comment.
with the Starlink.
Yeah.
Okay, was there anything else?
No, I just want,
Okay,
just so everybody understands, there's some issues when they call in and they can't get us.
I don't think, does Starlink, Julie, have phone service?
Internet,
well, it's.
it would be
internet.
IP,
If
like we have
voice-over
internet telephone now, it's IP telephony. That's how it works now. It would still work the same way.
Okay.
What I need is a reliable connection that stays up all the time.
Yeah.
As well as the bandwidth, which is significantly more coming down, going up. It's probably about the same as what we have here.
Okay.
Sidebar,
Yes,
how do you pay by text? 24 people paid by text. Sorry, Jamie, can you explain that? What is that?
they can actually make payments via text messaging.
Okay,
how do they do that? Do you have a little background on that? Or maybe
Kind of
jump in.
explain.
Thank you, Shauna.
Help us.
So
Where
they
people-
register within the customer portal to pay by text. And if that's something they want, they receive a text message every month saying they have an invoice and they can immediately text pay. And we've got 24 payments that way.
Is there a charge for that?
Yes, ma'am, there is a fee for that. It's the $3.95 processing fee, just as if you paid online with your credit card or debit card, or called in and made a payment with me with your credit card or debit card.
Shauna, does that something, do you know, is that like through PayPal or Venmo or something, or we just don't know?
No, sir, it's something, they have to have a saved payment method on their customer portal, and the processing company processes their payment after they've text pay with
Okay.
the saved payment method on file.
Got it.
Is there any way that they can give like a discount if you get more people to volunteer, like, because that's a big fee, I think.
So the way I understand it is there's several different fees. If you use a credit or a debit card, anyway, pay by text over the phone on the customer portal, it's $3.95. If you do an AFT or an EFT, which is an electronic payment with your checking or savings account, it's $2.95. If you sign up for auto pay with a bank account, it is $1.95. So the cheapest way is to sign up for auto pay with your checking or savings account, and it's only $1.95. It is the processing company who pays or charges all of those fees. It's not us at all. It was my understanding that there is some sort of discount for people who were previously enrolled in auto pay. So there may be a few people that were previously enrolled on the old system who pay a little less than that. But I don't believe the more people we get signed up that there's a discount.
So basically, the only way we can get by without having to pay a fee is to send a check or drop off a check, it sounds like.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yeah,
Can we just put a check in the little mailbox by the mailboxes, or do you want it in an envelope?
I don't know.
A check just in the Dropbox is
Yeah.
fine. It is easier if you at least have your account number or your address in the memo field of the check, but you can just drop a check. There's no need for an envelope or anything like that.
Did statements go out or
I get mine electronically.
do you? I still am doing the paper one, but I didn't get one yet. So.
Okay.
So we-
Someone ever told me.
Pardon?
I have yours. Oh, you have it?
Okay.
Okay.
whatever's next.
Okay, Trevor, I'm sure you've been dying to have your moment in light, so if you would, we're ready for the maintenance report.
Sounds good. All right, so for last month, our first big thing, we had a mainline water leak on Lakeview Drive. And that was on a Saturday, unfortunately, and I believe we started at either 9 or 10 o'clock that morning. And it was around 8 o'clock that we finally rolled out of there. But we got that taken care of. We did a lot of prep work on our snow plows. And that that seems like an ongoing endeavor for us. We've had our side wing on one of our plows that is broke twice. So, I mean, that's just a plow that we're down at that time, and we're the ones that fix that. So there is a little bit of downtime when that stuff happens. We did a lot of work on another one of our trucks. We put a sander box on the back of our mid-range, which it unfortunately is only 2-wheel drive, but we try to keep that down in the meadow. And let's see here. We had a LPA meeting for our solar project. And I'm not sure where that's going just yet. We had a wastewater survey, and that went incredibly well. So we did great on that. We did install, like Bruce said, we put another parcel box there at the mail stop. And we also reinstalled a fire hydrant there on Forest Lakes Drive. I think it was the beginning of December when we had that first big storm. Someone had slid into one of our fire hydrants and snapped it off. Yeah. We got that installed. We got it back up and running. And then obviously we've been plowing snow. I can provide some numbers on that as well. We've been doing a lot of maintenance work on our sewer lift pump, on number 2. We got some issues with it. We had our guys pull it apart. We don't see anything wrong. Seems to be working okay now. We still have some issues with it, but it's kind of an ongoing thing with that. And then obviously we still got our equipment maintenance. Like I said, we're constantly, it seems like every time we take our plows out, something's breaking. Whether it be our side wing on some of our plows or our skids that we weld on the bottom so we don't tear all the gravel out of the road and send it all off the road. That's an ongoing thing. So we're constantly having to do repairs on all of our plow trucks after every storm, it seems like. And then we're continuing with our water and our wastewater operations. We are currently getting our new SCADA program up and running right now. So when that's going on, that typically ties up one of our guys as well. But that seems to be going pretty smooth so far. And then we've been doing our meter swaps. I think we've done at least three or four the last month, and then our meter reads and rereads. And then as far as the status of our fleet, everything's up and running. We do have one dump truck that's currently down. We got a hydraulic leak, and we're working on getting that fixed, but luckily we don't typically need our dump trucks this time of year. And as far as our safety incidences go, we're got nothing to report. So made it through the whole year without any incidences.
All right.
Good job.
Well, thank you, Trevor. I do have one question, or one, maybe it's more of a suggestion. I know that right now you've been pretty busy. Sometimes in the winter, if you're looking for something to do. I have noticed at the mail stop, 2 or 3 years ago, they replaced all the bulbs at the mail stop with LEDs. So most of the bulbs are still burning, but if you look over the years with all the dust from the road, dust is getting in on top of the lenses and it's starting to block out the light. So that may be one of those things down the road. If you don't have anything else higher priority, you could just pop those lenses out and dump some dirt out so that the light would be a little better under there. That's kind of a safety and security thing also.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know we did replace a couple bulbs that were burnt out, and I want to say that was maybe a couple months ago, but we'll definitely make sure to clean those lenses off.
Yeah, unfortunately, you don't notice it until nighttime, and you guys don't work at night. So,
Right.
So that's part of the reason I'm pointing it out. That hopefully that helps you guys because you wouldn't otherwise probably know.
Nope, for sure. Sounds good. We'll make sure
Thanks,
to
Trevor.
keep those cleaned off. And also I pulled up our hydrant report here. I was mistaken. We got 140 hydrants.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a
So,
bunch.
yeah, it is
Not 84, 100 and, how many? 140?
140.
140 instead of the 140.
Yeah, I didn't know, but I thought that sounded low when he said it, but I didn't know. So yeah, 100%. That's why I'm saying it takes a lot of man hours to go in and clean it around each one of those. I mean, if you only spend 5 minutes, just start doing the math.
Yeah,
We're talking
well,
hours.
residents do it.
Yeah.
It's a big project.
A plan to put that yield sign back up anytime soon that was taken out by the hydrant?
Say that again?
The yield sign that was also wiped out with the hydrant? You guys got getting that up anytime soon or?
Yeah, we're working on it. We'll get a new sign up there for sure.
It's not gonna help, but I've almost been hit here a few times now by people not stopping.
Yeah, yep. But
Okay.
yeah, thank you to the people that are cleaning around their hydrants. That obviously helps us out a bunch and we do appreciate it.
All right.
We know of a few.
Thank you very much. I guess, if everyone's okay, we'll move on to financial.
It looks like a question about the solar panels is what they're for.
Okay, I'll address that very quickly. I know we've talked in numerous previous meetings about the solar panels. The purpose of the solar panels is to power our pumps at our shop, our wells and things down there. It's being put in at no cost to us. And so that's what that's going to be used for. It's not going to do anything to help the individual residences or anything like that. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you have further questions, you can contact.
Look at previous minutes.
Yeah, look
The
at
minutes
previous
will
minutes.
cover a lot of this stuff now.
Okay, financial, Bruce, you want to go ahead and run through that quick?
Yep. And I will tell you before I get started, that next month when Leslie does the financial, it's going to look different. So I'll forewarn you, okay?
Okay.
Honestly, I would have had her probably do it this month, but trying to get her on the system, it's like ridiculous. Jamie's, I think, contacted like 4 or 5 people who want to add a user. You know, call here, it's crazy. So
Okay.
anyway, I'm just telling you right now, it's going to be different. So anyway, property tax, we got all of that, just actually a little bit over what was projected with the 2022 budget. So $706,343. So it was about $3,000 more than we got. That's what we got, 706 in the budgeted for 703 in that neighborhood. I'm going to come back to the water because I don't know if it's out of order here. General fund, and the budget's still not closed yet on this because we're still going to have to accrue some things from December as that comes in. But right now, our revenues are below what we had budgeted, 913, and the budget was 928. Our expenses are above our income, where it's at about $1,129. But this will all hopefully pan out a little better here once we get everything in for December. This was just what we have, but we're going to have some things that will come in as well, I believe. Water, similar revenues of 709, budgeted for 909. And our expenses were 666,000 and for a budget of 909. So our revenues and expenses both are below what was budgeted. And we had that same issue last week or last month, and Jamie found some things wrong in there. But at this point, I'm not entirely sure. We're going to continue to look at that and go, I don't know whether it's just a miss, but they're kind of in line with each other, if you will, to a degree. So, but we'll continue to look at that. Sewer fund is a similar situation. Revenues of 502,000, budgeted at 666,000, and our expenses are 510. So they're a little bit over, about 8,000 over our revenues at this point. So we need to do a little more work on that with some of the Cassell things that keep cropping up, and get that cleaned up for next month for sure. And then we'll have very solid numbers I'll feel more comfortable with.
Could that be affected to some degree by the fact that we're doing a better job categorizing the expenses?
Well, even if you just added everything up, it's still not washing, right? Even if it was in the wrong category,
Okay.
the number's the number. And if we added everything up, there's still,
Same.
yeah, it doesn't, I mean, we do need to make sure that they are coded correctly, absolutely. But that's not going to change the number. I mean, unless it's in the wrong fund, that's different. And
Yeah.
she did find some of that and made those changes. So.
Okay.
Let's get that water. We did December pumped just a little over 4 million out of the wells. And so for the year, grand total of 53,486,000 gallons of water, which sounds like a lot.
At least we have the water.
Yes, we do. And that's good. And I hope Vicedo gets good snow melt and keeps it up, because if they put on, if the river's on call, that's when it's low. That's when, if we release water, we get credit for it. And yeah, Warren let us know about that, and because I was inquiring, but so anyway, I believe that's it, unless we have some questions.
We've never had to do that before, have we? Release our water to them?
That I don't
The
know.
on-call?
I don't know if they did. We're missing a where so we have to be able to measure it. And interesting, all through kind of a sidelight on on what's going on, talking with the water commissioner, we found, I guess something got damaged, our weir that did measure that, and it's over by the entrance. I'm like, why is it there? And so he kind of didn't exactly know, and I go, I want it by the dam because that's where it comes out. Well, the answer he found is it has to be halfway between the source and the river, and that's about where it is, right by the entrance. Very, yeah. And so when we have to buy another one, and we'll put it back to the same place. Yeah, really kind of interesting. All the water rules are very convoluted and complex and very old, but we're getting the answers out of him, so that was excellent, so,
Okay, in the interest of moving the meeting along,
yeah.
we need to, since we did not get the agenda posted in time, and we cannot make any official decisions at this meeting, we cannot take votes on anything. We had a couple of resolutions designating the official public posting place, and that's a yearly thing that we have to do. And a resolution appointing the designated election official, and that those both need to be taken care of very soon, especially the election ones, so that we can continue our preparations for the election. So we need to call a special meeting just to vote on these items and the approval of the minutes. And also to approve the disbursements. We cannot do any of that officially tonight. So we need to, the board members and Bruce need to decide a time and day here, hopefully in the next 2 or 3 days, where we can have a quorum and we can vote on these and get these officially taken care of. So I'm open to anybody's suggestions about what would work for them.
Do the employees need to be involved? Is it better?
No,
during the
no.
day?
I think the board and Bruce is probably all that we need.
All right.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe Thursday, because we won't be able to have a notice up in time for tomorrow, so
Right.
Thursday, and it could be at any time that's convenient for the board members, and we'll just do a Zoom meeting. If you want to come here, you can, or do it from home or wherever you're at. Time, I don't care, but the sooner the better, because again, we do, the election situation is kind of time sensitive. We want to make sure we get that, so Jamie and Shauna can continue to do their work on that.
Derek,
Yeah, we
you
got
got
to
ideas
check
on
it.
Thursday?
Thursday's perfect. I was just gonna say Wednesday doesn't work at all, so Thursday's
Okay.
perfect for me.
Is there any particular time that would work better for you?
7's probably best. I think my daughter has another basketball game, so those end about 5:30, 5:45. So I 6 we push 6:30, 7.
During the day, is that an option or not?
In the day, I have to check my schedule, which I don't have handy right here right now, but if it's probably, earlier afternoon or late morning, it's probably best.
Well, what about you, Corey? You're not gonna be able to do it
Well,
during the day. I mean,
oddly enough, my Thursday is opened up, so
I can't do Thursday at 12:30 PT. So either before 11 or after 1:30.
About Thursday afternoon then, or does that work for Derek? He said early afternoon or late morning. So. like,
Yeah, I usually have to
should we
head
say at
head
1:30,
down
2?
I mean, and not.
Thursday at
everyone has to
1:32.
be here.
Let me look at my schedule real fast.
Okay, well, you're doing that, Corey.
I still want to say yes.
Oh, my
So
Thursday.
you're available now.
Okay. Oh,
Thursday
anytime
too.
during the day.
No,
Thursday
1:30
afternoon.
Thursday.
It's Thursday at 11, so, but till afternoon will be good. Yeah,
So
Yeah.
Thursday about 2-ish,
Yeah.
that works.
Thursday about 2-ish.
That works for me.
If you
it
only
works
get-
for Derek.
Just need a quorum, but I mean, I know you want to, but
You're right, we need a quorum.
and you've got it already.
Why don't we just, say
Thursday
it's
at
gonna be 2 o'clock. Derek, if you can do it at 2 o'clock on Thursday, that's what we're gonna do.
And Jamie, can you
See,
set up a?
Thursday at 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, we already talked about that.
Thursday at
We
2.
needed a decision.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Derek.
No, Thursday at 2 works fine.
Okay, we'll plan on Thursday at 2. We'll try to make it fast. Hopefully it doesn't take more than about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Is
Um,
that where everybody, the public also has access to like call in to hear?
We will,
Can't talk, but they can hear
no, they can call in. I'll still have,
everything except the public comment.
no, I'll put that in there, but all this other stuff will go away. And we'll just have the things we need to vote on.
To approve the minutes, approve
Yes.
the agenda.
Right, but there will still have the thing if somebody wants to make a public comment, I'll also leave that in there. So there's only, I think there's 4 things we gotta vote on.
Yes,
Minutes,
minutes, we need to. approve-
2 resolutions,
Yeah, 2 resolutions.
and then the disbursements.
And it's 5 things. There's 5.
Okay.
We have to approve the agenda.
Oh,
We
okay.
have to approve the minutes, and we've got the 2 resolutions, and we've got the dispersion. So we got those 5 items to approve. That's the purpose, entire
Then we
purpose
vote
of the
on it.
meeting. We'll vote on them. And if we're in agreement, then the meeting will be over. So we'll try to keep it to 10 minutes if we can. It may take with discussion, it might take a few more minutes than that, but I'll try to keep it as short as we can. So 2 o'clock on Thursday. Okay, so who's gonna post what needs to be posted so that
We'll get that up tomorrow.
Okay,
So that'll be the 24-hour notice.
Yeah.
It'll be more than 24 hours, but we'll get,
It's open.
Yes, it's open to the public. That's
oh yeah,
part of it.
always. Yeah, so we'll get that.
Thursday at
for-
2. Another Zoom or attend.
Yep,
okay, with that, there's nothing else on the agenda for tonight. The remainder of this will have to be dealt with at the special meeting on Thursday at 2. So unless anybody has an objection, I suggest we adjourn. I'll
I
make
move
that.
that we adjourn.
Okay, okay, and second. Okay, Corey seconded. And Derek, you in favor of adjourning?
Yeah, but I was gonna say, if we can't make decisions at this meeting, I guess we gotta keep going, right? But,
yeah. Oh,
Oh, it's a
No.
Thursday.
no, I just saying about, deciding about the meeting, yeah.
Thank you, everyone who attended. Thanks to everyone that came.
Yeah,
everybody,
okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
take
Bye.
care.
Yeah, I totally forgot.
Oh, by the way.
Your